Hi everyone, it's Mr. Sabac. Um, Hope you all are well, taking care of yourself. I'm going to go over a lesson right now, and I just want to tell you that if this lesson is confusing at all, please let me know. If you'd like to check in one on one regarding the lesson, let me know. Or if you just want to talk to me or anyone, let me know, and I can definitely free up some space, okay? I attempted the office hours, but I know it's difficult because all of your schedules are different. So let me know, and we can definitely schedule something else, all right? Otherwise, I hope you're doing well, taking care of yourself, and of course, I continue to miss all of you. So, for this lesson, I want to talk about power and privilege. Okay, so by the time I'm done talking, of course, do your own research, but by the time I'm done going over this lecture, I want you to have a better understanding of what is power and also what is privilege. All right, they are very similar, but they do have some differences. So, here's the first one: power. Power is the ability to control something, someone, or a group of people. Those with power can make change within certain capacities others cannot. Those without power don't have the ability to change something or lack control of something over something. All right? So, if you have power, you can do something. You have an ability, all right? You have an ability, some kind of access. You can control something. You have power, all right? Now, let's go over privilege. Privilege: the ability to do something or have access to something others do not have access to. A privileged person may have more of something in comparison to a person who lacks privilege, who may have less or no access. All right? So, these two words can blend a whole lot. So, as we go over it, feel free to clarify for yourself and, of course, let me know later. But I want to go over some examples that hopefully will help with clarifying. Okay? So, examples. Let's go over this first example. Um, Economic privilege or financial privilege. All right. Now, on the left, we see an image of a person who is homeless. When we think about their power and privilege, most of the time we think they don't have much, right? In comparison to the image on the right, where I see some people on a maybe a cruise ship or a sailboat, and they look like they have, as far as I can tell, nice clothes, having some drinks. It's a very, very different perspective in comparison to the person that's homeless. Okay, and what I want you to think of is this. Oftentimes we hear people say things like, pull yourself out of the bootstraps or work harder and you can succeed and access anything. You can be as rich as this person or whatnot. And it's not, I'm not saying that's not impossible, but there's definitely a difference with power and privilege. Or more so here, I want to talk about privilege, okay? So let's say this person grew up homeless, is homeless. And when you're homeless, it's hard to get a job. People are always like, why don't you just get a job? Why don't you just work? Okay, fine. Keep in mind, let's say you do apply for a job. Okay. Will this homeless person be able to bathe before the job? Will this homeless person have the right clothes to look, quote unquote, desirable for the job? And even more important, will this person have an address and or contact information for that job? Okay. In many of these situations, the answer is oftentimes no. If you don't have an address, if you don't have these things just to get the job, not including transportation, getting to the job on time, all these different things, right? If you don't have those privileges, it's very difficult to just get a job. You know, when you are in a race and you're completely behind, yeah, maybe if you're really fast, you might be able to catch up. But let's be very honest. If you are significantly behind, no matter how fast you are, it's almost impossible to catch up. And that's the kind of metaphor when I want you to think about when considering economic privilege. Okay. Now, in comparison to getting a job, let's say this person here, let's say this man or woman, this person here, they have a child. Now that child automatically has an address to get a job, to apply for a job. We're going to assume they have clothing. We're going to assume that they have people that can coach them. We're also going to assume that maybe their parents have some kind of power to just get them the job, to just get the job handed to them, right? Sometimes this is called a silver spoon, like you automatically just get things. These are two very stark differences with economic privilege, okay? For myself personally, I get really bothered when people criticize someone who grew up in poverty or is homeless, and then they say something like, well, if they just work harder, they can just have what they want. They can just have the same things. Historically, we do not see that to be true. Historically, there are things such as old money. There are things such as access because of your family and who they are, right? Like, for example, when we talk about going to college, especially for you seniors, there's a big difference in which you have the privilege of coming from a family with a long lineage of going to college. They know what to do, they've experienced it, it's a norm, versus coming from a family who has not had anyone go to college, in which you might be the first one to go to college, right? And that's just specifically speaking for college, okay? So, something I want you to think about there. But let's keep going. Let's go to racial ethnic privilege. All right. So I'm going to show you a couple videos. Let's see. Let's go over this first one here. So here, I apologize. I can't remember the name of these women, but they're part of an organization called Moms for Housing in Oakland. And pretty much they were fighting and advocating for these homes that were not vacant for them to go to women who had children who needed a place to stay who were homeless, right? Okay, so they're just trying to do that, and they're trying to open up these homes that were evicted or have been like no one's there. They're trying to use those as like places where these families could possibly stay. Okay, now these women, women of color, black women, they don't have any weapons. Now we're going to contrast that to here. If you've been following the protests um, in Michigan, in Georgia, in which mostly, not all, mostly conservative white folks have been protesting the stay at home orders. Okay? Um, and what I want to do real quick is show you a couple of videos. So, first, let's look at this video for Moms for Housing.
Deputies forcibly removing the Moms for Housing group from that vacant house on Magnolia Street. Let's get right over to CBSN Bay Area's Jackie Ward at the scene. Jackie?
Michelle, the eviction process is drawing quite a crowd here at 30th and Magnolia.
So this was not too long ago. This was in Oakland.
At all of these people who are here, of course, the area by the home has been blocked off by the Alameda County Sheriff's Office. They have armored officers here. They have a lot of people in support standing here as well. Earlier this morning, the sheriff's deputies.
If you hear the man speaking, he's talking about the armored vehicles. You see the SWAT team members full out riot gear as if they're going to stop a riot.
And some of the protesters and supporters here. The Moms for Housing group released a statement earlier this morning. They said, quote, instead of allowing us to buy this home through the Oakland Community Land Trust for exactly what they paid for it, Wedgwood CEO Greg Geiser has chosen to enact physical violence on us and our families. We won't leave our home, and our neighbors, friends, and family are standing with us.
Now, there's a lot of things to say about this video. And of course, you can find this video on YouTube. There are several videos. There are even better videos. But I want you to notice that these were literally mothers trying to get homes, okay? And you notice their SWAT team, as if there's something crazy going on. But these mothers, they don't have any weapons. They're just advocating and arguing that they just feel like women and families who are homeless or people who are homeless should take up housing of houses that are just vacant. No one's there. Okay, and there's another video. You see the like armored tanks coming in, and it's crazy. These were just defenseless women, um, who are trying to advocate for fair housing. Okay, so that's a big example I want you to think about. Let's go to this next one. In this one here, oh, I thought I already saved this. I guess I didn't. Here, there is a pro-gun rally. That's not the one I was looking for, but let's. Oh, here we go. There's a pro-gun rally.
This is W7.
Wait. Hold on. You all, I'm gonna look for this right now. Rolling Stone pro-gun rally. Where is this at? Oh my gosh, I thought I saved this, but maybe not. Okay, bear with me for 1 second, everyone. I think I have it here. Let's see. Let's see if I can find this here. Pro-gun rally. Yeah, it's not even here, but that's okay. Oh, here. Rolling Stone, Michigan, pro-gun. Let's see if that comes up, okay? Okay. I cannot even find this, but that's alright. Alright, well, let me just give you a little... let's see if it's here. Oh, it's not even here. Okay, that's fine. So let me give you the explanation, you all. Basically, what was happening is that in February, before the stay-at-home orders took place, there was a pro-gun rally that happened at City Hall. In I can't remember what exact city, but it was in Michigan. All right. So what happened was that when that was going on, these armed people came in. They came in, and they went around metal detectors, and they were just fully armed. And what you'll notice is there were no police, no law enforcement, nothing stopping these people. Okay, big deal, and some big differences. They're explicitly conservative. They were white. Big difference in privilege, in power. Okay, so I want you to keep that in mind. All right, I do have two other videos that I do have ready, and let's show these right now. Okay, so this video here was a shooting that took place in somewhere in the East Bay. I can't think of it right now. I think it was San Leandro, and the person here's name is Stephen Taylor. Okay, and let's just quickly show this. All right. So Stephen Taylor, he's a black man. He was at a Walmart. He had no weapons. He was holding a bat and acting as if he was going to do something with the bat, but it was just a very simple bat. Okay. He was in a store, and he was having mental health issues. He was not realistically being threatening. I mean, it's not that hard to disarm a person just with a bat, okay? If he had a gun explicitly, that's a different conversation. But as we've seen historically, oftentimes there's a lot of black men being killed, oftentimes defenseless and unarmed. Okay, so here he was having some issues at the Walmart, and I think employees called. Police came, and their primary job was to, unless this person was explicitly threatening, their job was to defuse the situation. They did not do that. If you watch this video, and please look it up, with Stephen Taylor, these police officers shot rounds in a Walmart that was not cleared out, meaning people were in there, they were shopping, they shot just straight. That bullet could have easily hit someone else, a kid, an innocent person shopping. Okay, very big deal. Now let's go to this one here. This is another video. As you can notice, I'm finding these videos from friends of mine who are posting, but as you know, a lot of parks are closed right now. All right, and here are these white women who are at a park with their children, and these police officers asked them several times, with no threat would you leave? And see the difference here.
Well, it's a public park, so I do wonder why it's being closed when it's a public park. I mean, we're not breaking a law.
Well, the city closed it, and the city can close.
She is breaking the law.
Under what
The city
grounds?
closed the
Under what
park.
grounds can they just come in and?
The city code says they can.
But we have to the city
taxes, right? And we're paying taxes down. We don't get a refund on the parks we're
I am
paying
not the
for.
one to argue with. The one to argue with, if you don't like it, is the mayor or the parks director. I'm just a law enforcement officer, and I've been asked to come here and make sure everyone knows. So,
I want you to think if it was a different family, different women, how would they have been treated?
But you're enforcing it right now.
yeah,
It's your choice, right?
I could enforce it. I could charge people, but I don't want to do that.
Look out, his hands are together. Very, very different.
People decide to.
Man, don't get mad at me.
I'm just out here. I'm trying to.
Right.
So this
Don't
is
be
the
mad
deal.
at us. We're just the moms are paying taxes and frustrated with this whole thing.
I think that
He can tell you exactly what you can and can't do. I will tell you, the playground is closed. We told you that. Okay?
No, we're just moms.
We're just trying to protect people here.
So see how they had to bring several
Right,
people
but
to
that
just
goes from
explain.
getting vitamin D and letting our kids
Just
play
to
in the
explain.
sunshine. I mean,
you guys.
Ma'am, I have told you to exit numerous times. This is it. Exit the playground here.
Numerous times. Numerous times. It's key.
You have 5 seconds.
Do it. Report it.
okay, this is not.
All right.
Officer, you don't want
Different.
to do that. Officer, you don't.
You're being detained right now.
Am I being arrested or detained? Am I arrested or detained? Someone call Idaho Freedom Foundation right now and get them on the phone.
Call now. I'm recording. Someone else call.
Okay, we're gonna stop there because I think you all pretty much get the point. Okay, so there was such a big discrepancy with how that black man by himself and several other videos just like that, how he was being treated in comparison to these white women who were at the park. And it took several police officers, some city officials to come and ask kindly several times. And we know that is a form of racial, ethnic power and privilege. Okay, it's very, very different. I do want to go over several other forms of privilege, but I don't want to overwhelm you all, especially with this distance learning. But other privilege might include white privilege, class privilege. We've gone over both of those. Male privilege, right? I think I've told you all several times before that, for example, as a male, as a boy, identifying boy, male, cisgender male, that it was easy for me to leave my house, but for my sister, it wasn't. I had that privilege, okay? Of course, straight privilege, being cisgender, right? Not being non-binary, having citizenship privilege, able-bodied privilege. A lot of these we've also talked about in class, okay? Let me go through a couple more. And I want you to think of collective power, all right? So, for example, this person here owns a farm. He owns the farm. He hires workers. He owns the land, all right? Now, this woman here is a farm worker. All right, she's picking right now. She's working, doing some really, really hard work. All right, now, in this situation, you're probably going to assume who has power, who has privilege. Obviously, this man right here. Okay, he owns the land. He dictates people. He cuts the checks. He controls it. All right, and there are a lot of histories of landowners like this person here. I'm not saying he's like that, but landowners like this who will not pay, who will take advantage of employees, who will do a lot of terrible practices as a landowner, as a person with power and privilege, okay? But you think about it, you think about this one farm worker, obviously there are several. And what were to happen if all of them stopped working? What could this person do? Okay? Like, what would happen? I think I've told you all some metaphors in class about if you all wanted to leave class and I try to stop you, would I truly be able to stop you? Realistically, no, right? And it was these movements that led to the United Farm Workers movements, in which farm workers banded together. They refused to be paid less than what they were worth, and they won a lot of their battles only because they had that collective power, right? So, and then the UFW, the United Farm Workers, one of the biggest things they did was establish unions. All right, so as a teacher, I am part of a union. Not all teachers, just some. And what unions do is they come together and they have collective power. Okay, um, some of your parents, families, if they work for a job, they oftentimes will have a union. And what happens is if the person who owns the company or a manager or a boss um, does something terrible to a worker or tries to take away their job or harass them, the unions will come in and use that collective power and protect them. Okay, and I can go on more about that, but I don't want to get too deep into that. All right, so by this point, I really hope that you have a better understanding of what power is and what privilege is. All right, now here are your assignments. Um, you could ignore this. I think I wrote it a little bit better in the assignment I provided, but I want you to imagine a ladder, okay, and a ladder of Edison High School. In the assignment that's linked with this, who is at the top of that ladder? Who is in the middle? Who do you feel is at the bottom? Who has the least power? Okay, reflect on that. Finally, I want you to answer this question for your reflection summary. And I'm going to read each one, so make sure you put something because I'm really interested in what you have to say. Now, first question. Do you feel as if you have power? Explain why. Second question. How can individuals without power gain power? All right. So, think about that. Feel that out. These assignments will be in Google Classroom. I love you all, and check in with me if you have any confusion, okay? Take care, everybody.